In today's video, I'm going to show you how I take this sparse brow and turn it into this full, natural-looking brow that's so natural-looking that you can't even tell that it's fake. The first thing that we need to do is measure to see where our brows go. To do this, you're going to place the pencil vertically next to the side of the nose, go straight up and make a mark. The pencil should rest in the dimple of the nose. Then from the same spot on the nose through the middle of the iris, you're going to place a mark. This is going to show us where the arch should be. Then we're going to move the pencil to the side of the nostril and go through the outer corner of the eye. Carry the line out, and this is where your brow should end, or your tail should end. I'm using 3 products today. The first one is the Billion Dollar Brows Micro Pencil, and I have a very exciting, just released product that I'm going to show you at the end. And we're going to use this Brow Trio Pomade Kit today. Now, the reason I went with the Brow Trio Kit is because the pomade is really smooth, it's creamy, it's got a 36-hour wear, and it's waterproof, smudge-proof. You can work out in it or even swim in it. And the stencils range from petite sizes to large. Now let's go ahead and look at that tool up close. It's got a sponge on one end and a spoolie on the other. I'm using the taupe today, but this also comes in gray, blonde, caramel, soft brown, auburn, medium brown, dark brown, and ebony. If you don't have a kit and you want one, I'm going to give you a discount code for this later. I'm starting by dipping that in the pomade, and this can be applied lightly or heavily. I always like to know what the coverage is going to be like on the back of my hand before I go to my face with it. Now remember those marks we made earlier? Starting with the tail and working forward, we're going to make sure that each one of those little marks is inside the stencil. Then hold the stencil in place and begin to apply the pomade, starting from the arch back to the tail, and lastly moving it forward. We want most of the pomade to be from the arch to the tail, and the least bit we want toward our nose. Then simply wipe off the template and flip it over to use it on the other eye. If you have any questions about this, I want you to put them in the comments, please. While I do the other eye, I'm going to give you a couple of tips that'll help you use your stencils better. Number 1, if you have trouble holding onto your stencil, you can use a little piece of tape in the middle and tape it to your forehead as like a third finger. Number 2, when you align the stencil beginning at the tail and working your way inward, you may find that the stencil is too long and goes past your inner marking. But that's why I say start at the tail and work forward, because you can stop stamping at the mark. Number 3, if your pomade seems too thick after you put it on, instead of using the stamper that comes in the kit, use a clean eyeshadow brush. Dip just the tips of the brush in the pomade. Then use light windshield wiper strokes to apply. Now that the eyebrows have been stamped, we're going to take that spoolie and very lightly blend anything that looks too harsh. Now here's the important part. The inner part of the eyebrow is going to look a little blocky until you blend it. And we want these brows to look really natural. So we're going to blend all those little edges until they just look like a light shadow. I don't have any hairs in that area, so I can't wait to show you what I'm going to do there. But first, let's go ahead and use a little bit of concealer to crisp this look up. And when I say a little bit of concealer, I mean a tiny bit. I'm using a flat concealer brush, and all I'm doing is lining right under the brow that we just stamped on. I like to begin at my arch and drag the line out past my tail, and then bring it in, following the line that's already there from the stamp. And then when we get close to that inner part where we've blended it to make it look softer, continue the line out a little bit. So we're just going to extend it past the inner line. Now let's talk about the brush and how wet it needs to be. It really doesn't matter so much which brush you use as long as it's flat and semi-angled. Now here's how wet you want your brush to be. If you filled your brush completely up with concealer and then painted the excess onto your arm, then if you were to take the flat side of the brush and press it into your skin and it barely leaves a full print, that's how much concealer I want you to use. And that's why I begin under my arch, because I want most of the concealer to go under the arch to the tail. And then when I bring it forward, I want it to be almost like a dry brush so that it's very, very soft. So let's do the other brow. Most of the concealer went on the outside. Then when I come in, it's very, very soft and almost dry because all the concealer was used up. I extend it past my middle mark just to give it a little kind of scaffolding since there's no hair there. Now I'm going to clean off even more on my brush. And then if I want to crisp up the outer part of my tail, I go ahead and do it that way. And it's just going to blend right into my foundation because it's so incredibly light. And that's exactly how I want you to do it if you have to clean up around your arch, with your brush almost completely dry. With that dry brush, I'm going to come right in and buff right in between my eyes then, just ensuring that there's a little separation in between my shadows. Now on to the surprise product that I promised you at the beginning of the video. This is a brand new 2-in-1 dual-ended eyebrow pen. It makes these beautiful, waterproof, hair-like strokes. One end has a micro fork tip that makes 3 strokes at once. The other end makes precision single hair strokes. I know this is probably not easy to see, and that's why I'm going to show you very up close at the end. What I'm doing is using that 3-prong end in the area that I have 0 hairs, and I'm going very lightly and just doing short strokes. And this incredible pen actually makes them so light that you cannot tell if you were standing eye to eye with me that this was fake. Now I'm going to use the single tip end and just go in and strategically add a little hair-like stroke here and there. Now the trick is to just use the tip of this and don't try to do a full stroke from one side of the brow to the other. Instead, try to do 3 short strokes near each other. Vary your strokes, only place them where you feel like you need them, and try not to get carried away. While I finish this up, let me tell you about the pen because it is sweat-proof, smudge-proof, transfer-proof, and waterproof. Now, me personally, I'm excited about this because I've tried a lot of these type pens that are supposed to do this. But what happens is either the tip is too soft, the formula is too watery, so when it hits the makeup, it disperses instead of leaves little lines. I've actually gotten some that when you put them on clean, dry skin, they'll leave a mark, but when you try to make the marks over makeup, it won't show up at all. So this pen is a real blessing. If you've been looking for something like this or tried some of those before and they haven't worked for you, check this out. I will say you do have to have steady hands to use this. If you don't have steady hands, I don't want you to waste your money on it. And if you're pretty steady, but you're having a little bit of trouble with this, try resting your elbow on the table in front of you to give yourself a little more stability. Oh yeah, I'm happy. Are you happy? Let's take a look at this up close. Look for those hair-like strokes. And just so you know, I'm holding this so close to my face, it's about 4 inches away. So if someone were invading my personal space, this is what they would see. Now hold on, we're going to get closer. But first I wanted to say thanks for watching the video. I appreciate you. Make sure you're subscribed and that your notifications are on so that when I post a video, you can be the first one to know. If you have a question or a comment, please make sure to leave that for me. Links to all the products that I used are in the description. And here's the extreme close-up where you can see those individual little strokes that we put in. It's nice and natural, and best of all, no one can tell. Here's where we started from. Absolutely not much. And here's where we ended. Thanks for watching.